Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video I'm going to take a look at something which I accidentally bought, which has turned out to be absolutely fantastic, so I figured I'd make a video and share it with you all. This is the ASUS ROG Strix Impact Mark III Wireless Edition. Now this, like I said, was an accidental purchase. I actually went on to Amazon.co.uk and looked up the Impact. I wanted the wired version, which was my preference at the time, and I placed the order. This order was about £2 dearer than I'd seen it elsewhere online, but I thought, well, it's Amazon, so 30-day returns, etc., so I can see if it's actually right for me or not. And lo and behold, the wireless version arrived, which I was quite shocked because the wireless version normally is considerably more expensive, somewhere in the region of about £70 to £80, but it doesn't seem there is a pricing error. Amazon are selling them at a ridiculously cheap price of, I think it's £46 and like 97 pence or something, and they've still got them available, so I'm tempted to actually buy another one. I am that impressed with it. So today we're going to take a look at the specs, go through the box, go through what it can and can't do, some of the very cool features it has, and then you can make out your mind whether or not this is going to be suitable for your next gaming mouse purchase. So we'll start off first of all with the packaging, as you'd expect. So ROG Strix Impact 3 Wireless, as we said. So with this, you've got multiple options of wireless connectivity, so you can use Bluetooth, or alternatively you can actually use 2.4 gigahertz using their Omni connector, which is a very small little USB device, which actually is programmable as well, so you don't have to just use it with this. You can also pair it with an ASUS wireless keyboard should you wish to, and if you lose the adapter, which we've all done before, you can actually replace them and then repair it with a device, which is absolutely awesome. This is using the ASUS ROG SpeedNova technology, so this gives you a fantastic strong signal and yeah, is very low latency. They do rate it as being somewhere under 1 millisecond of latency. This is actually a market leading statistic, and generally most mice on the market are somewhere in the region of about 3 milliseconds, so it is a very precise and responsive mouse. Also incorporates the ROG Aimpoint sensor, which the Aimpoint sensor is basically a kind of customized version of the Pixart PMW 3399 sensor, which is a fantastic sensor, giving you up to 36,000 dpi. Also it supports tracking speeds of up to 650 inches per second and up to 50G acceleration. Also, as it says on the box, it also supports ASUS Aurora Sync, so if you want to use it with Armoury Crate you can do and synchronize your RGB across your various devices. On the back of the box it goes into a little bit more deeper specs, so this is using the ROG micro switches or mouse switches. These are suitable for up to 70 million clicks for durability, and also they're hot swap as well, so you can actually replace them should you want to in their push fit socket. Also, you've got an outstanding 450 hour battery life, which actually potentially could be even longer, up to 600 hours if you're using Bluetooth low energy mode and also have the illumination turned off. You've got 5 programmable buttons. Also, it is a lightweight design. Now, the lightweight design thing is a little bit misleading, I've got to be honest with this. So out of the box, they're saying this is 57 grams, excluding the battery and also the wireless adapter, which is actually in the back, which you take out to put into your device. As soon as you put a battery in, so if you put in a AAA battery, which you can use, that does add around about 8 grams. If you put in a AA battery, it adds on somewhere in the region of about 10 grams. But either way, it's going to be under 70 grams, which is absolutely excellent. It does feel very lightweight, I must say. Something else it mentions or makes a deal of is the fact that the actual mouse buttons are PBT. So not just any old plastics, they are actually PBT, so nice and strong. And actually taking a closer look at the mouse itself, you can see it's got a very nice design. It's actually quite a compact design as well. So if you're into your smaller mice, then this might be right up your street. You're looking at measurements of 120mm by 62mm by 39mm in height. So it's actually quite compact. Taking a look at some of the things which are included in the packaging, as you expect. So you get your user guide, you get your warranty information, which probably less said about that the better. You also get instructions on being careful, so when you're removing the top half of the shell to actually gain access to replacing the switches, there is actually a connection wire, so it's just saying like be careful, you don't want to break those wires. Also it comes with a nice little travel bag as well, so if you want to stick it into I don't know, maybe your coat pocket or something, or a bag, travel bag, you can do that and this will keep the mouse somewhat protected. Also included, it comes with 2 batteries included, which is pretty cool. So it comes with a AAA battery, which actually also has a plastic outer shell to make it the AA size. And also you get a AA battery as well, which both of them are lithium. And I've got to say, this is one of the things which really did surprise me. Now, I am one of those people that gets severe battery anxiety. I'm always checking with wireless devices to see if they're getting low. And it actually is one of the reasons why I wanted to go with the wired version of this rather than the wireless, because I just don't want to have one of those things to worry about. But with the absolutely extreme battery life on this thing, like up to 600 hours on Bluetooth mode, it just seems to last forever. Now, I've been using this all this week for around about somewhere between 10 to 12 hours a day, I would say on average, and still in the ASUS Armoury Crate software, it's still showing that the battery has 100% charge, which is absolutely ridiculous. In comparison, the mouse that is behind me, which is the GM421 from MSI, which is also a wireless mouse with a little cradle there, that one would quite easily drop maybe 10-15% in a day. So this thing to not actually move the needle whatsoever in a week is absolutely outstanding, and still the performance is fantastic. The polling rate is exactly what you'd expect, so you've got a 1000 Hertz polling rate, and yeah, that is absolutely brilliant. The only thing I will say is if you are using it in Bluetooth mode, it does say on the website that both the Bluetooth mode and the wireless mode both run at 1000 DPI, although in my personal testing, when I put this into Bluetooth mode, it won't go over 250. So the polling rate of 250 is a little bit lower, but still very, very usable, and I don't really notice the difference if I'm completely honest. So let's get back to looking at the mouse. So like I said, PBT buttons for the left and right click, and these are really nice clicky buttons. Let's have a listen to those now. And on the sides, I would say the side buttons are a little bit more mushy than the front two, and there's actually a good reason for that, because they've incorporated a mechanical technology in the buttons, so you've got basically zero gap between the top of the switch and also the buttons. So as soon as you press it, it's a click. So there's none of that kind of gap or mush or travel distance in between your mouse button movements, so that makes it extremely accurate. At least if you're into gaming, FPS games or whatever it is, it's really good for that. And actually for me, video editing, I've found it to be extremely responsive. Something else I actually do like a lot is the fact that the mouse wheel, it's got a really nice feel to it, very nice clicks to it, very slight indent, but definitely there, and you know when you're properly scrolling. Also, the mouse wheel is translucent, as is the rubber around the outside edge, so it lets the RGB lighting through. And that is the only RGB lighting on this entire device. On the wired version, the ROG logo on the back is illuminated, whereas on this one it isn't. And also, again, for a very good reason, because this shell actually is removable and is also a slightly different texture as well. So the top texture, actually, you can see it's quite grippy, as is the buttons. And even on the sides, we move around to the side, we've got our two buttons here. And also there is a very slight grain on the side as well. So not enough to get dirt and debris in, but enough so that your hand doesn't slip. And also on the other side, you've got a very little bit of branding on there. So you've got the ROG logo embossed into there. And also you've got that grippy side there with a slightly different texture on the back. So yeah, very nice. This is really an ambidextrous mouse, although obviously there are two buttons on the left-hand side, so it is realistically designed for right-handed people, but me being left-handed, no problems at all. And also you'll notice it does slide particularly well, glides really nicely on this mouse pad. That is down to the 100% Teflon PTFE feet. Actually looking at those, you can see there's four kind of little mini triangles there. I didn't think they'd be particularly good. I do like to see larger mouse skates to give you a little bit more slide, but it's been absolutely fine. And also you've got some control buttons on the bottom as well. So you've got a switch on this side. So this is either in the off position, the Bluetooth position at the front, or at the back for the 2.4 gigahertz. So you can choose whichever you want. And actually, for those of you that are wondering, Mike, you say it's got a great battery life. Are you turning it off all the time? No, literally, I put it into the 2.4 gigahertz mode, and that is it. I kind of just leave it. It is designed to go to sleep after about 3 minutes of no activity, and to wake it up, just give it a bit of movement and it comes back on. This one at the moment isn't connected to my PC, so it's not connecting the signal, but yeah, generally, as soon as you move it, it just wakes up. It's great. You don't have to press any mouse buttons or anything to wake it, which is awesome. On the other side, you've got two more buttons, so one of which is to change your DPI settings, so you can press that to cycle through the presets on there, and also underneath there is a Bluetooth button, so press and hold that, and then you can go into pairing mode to connect it to a Bluetooth device. all of the settings on here, such as DPI and all the other settings, lift-off distance, etc., you can all control in Armoury Crate, which we'll show you later. But you can also do them from combination button presses. So if you don't want to have Armoury Crate installed or none of the software, you can make all of the adjustments that you could in the software from the mouse itself. The only thing being, I think RGB is probably the one thing you can't really do a great deal with. So now let's show you some of the cool features of this. So we'll take the top off so you can show you how to access the battery compartment and also the wireless adapter if you leave it stored in here. So it's a little bit tricky actually. This is one thing I don't like about this. I would like to see a little bit more of a ledge there to actually get it, but you just grab the back and peel that off. There's actually a little magnet in there as well. So not only is it the plastic tabs that hold it in place, it is also a magnet. So you can feel it. It kind of magnetizes itself, and then a final push and that locks it into position. And some of you are probably thinking, well, if it's a mouse that you can take apart and modify and do all that kind of stuff, surely it's going to be creaky and all that, but it's not. There's basically no movement in it at all. It's been made spectacularly well. I don't think I've ever felt a mouse which has the ability to take apart has been so good. There's literally no creak or flex to it whatsoever. It's absolutely solid. We'll take off the back section again. So in this bottom bit here, there is the wireless adapter, which is actually quite difficult to get out, so you won't be losing it. So we've got this very tiny, what they call Omni adapter. So this is programmable, and you can connect up ASUS wireless keyboards as well as mice. So you can have multiple devices connected on one dongle, which is awesome. And also you can see the battery in there. So at the moment we're using the AAA battery in there, which is what comes installed from the factory. And if we remove it, you can see it actually comes in like a plastic outer shell. So if you do want to use AAA batteries, they've got a shell there to make it take up the rest of the room. If you want to put a AA battery in there and give the mouse a little bit more weight, you can do that. The positive terminal goes towards you. So push that in, and there we go. There is your battery installed. And then just put your shell on and you're ready to go. Happy days. Now the next part of it is actually a little bit more difficult. So if you want to actually change any of the micro switches in the front there, the hot swap switches, although technically they're not hot swap, they're just swappable, but you get the general idea. So 2 screws, 1, 2, remove those, and then you can peel that shell away. There is actually an indent there at the back, which makes it easy, so it lifts off, and just give it a little wiggle and it will separate, and then you can gain access to the interior. You can see that Pixart PMW 3399 sensor, which is custom made for ASUS, and you can see the switches, and also you can remove them should you want to. No soldering required, anything like that. It's got proprietary ASUS little connectors on there, so just pull them out. Any other 3-pin mouse switches that you want to try in here, you can do very easily. Doesn't work with optical switches, the 5-pin ones. That possibly will be coming out in a revision, maybe the Impact 4 or something, but it's actually quite hard to buy the optical switches on the market at the moment, so it's not really a big deal. You can get obviously loads and loads of switches very, very cheaply on places like AliExpress and Amazon, and I've got a selection of different Kale switches, 2 million click, 70 million click, and 80 million click. And I'd say the Kale 70 million click ones are very similar to the ROG ones. They do feel very similar, and they are rated for 70 million clicks as well. So I think that's possibly a variation of those which they've used in here. Again, very nice tactile feel to them. The whole thing has just been done spectacularly well. The only thing I would say that is missing for me, I think it would have been nice to have an internal battery which can be recharged with a USB cable, or use it wired if you wanted to. But that is part of the way that they've saved the weight on this. So you've got no charging relay, you've got no specific battery, and you've got no additional connectivity for like a USB Type-C, which would all add to the weight. So I think they've actually made the right choice here. Bearing in mind that the battery lasts for such a phenomenally long time, it isn't a problem. Realistically, the battery is going to last you the best part of a month under heavy use, possibly 2 to 3 months with light use. So there you go, we've had a look at the mouse. Let's take a look at the software and see what you can do. Okay, so this is the ASUS Armoury Crate. So let's head over into the ROG Strix Impact 3 wireless mouse. And as you can see, we've got various tabs here. So the first one is buttons. So you can go in and you can change what the scroll up does, what the scroll click does, scroll down, right button. Left button is defaulted, so you can't really change that one. And on the side, you've got your forward and backwards button, which you can choose to do a different mouse function or various different options here, should you wish to. So we'll leave that as it is. If you do anything wrong there, you can just click on reset and it will reset all of those. Then you can go into the performance tab. So in performance, you've got options for your sensitivity. So 4 preset DPIs, as you can see there, and you can do anything between 100 DPI all the way up to a whopping 36,000 DPI, which is a little bit insane. You've got your polling rate. So currently we're on the Bluetooth connection, and as you can see, we've only got a maximum of 250 Hertz available, whereas you can go up to a polling rate of 1000 Hertz for the Wi-Fi connection. You've also got options for angle snapping if you wish to use that. That will have a slightly detrimental effect on the battery. And also you've got the option for angle tuning. So if you hold your mouse slightly off to an angle, you can change this accordingly to tune the angle. Next is going to be the lighting tab. So in here you've got options for static, breathing, color cycle, reactive, and battery mode. If you're actually in the Wi-Fi connected version, you can choose the Aurora Sync to synchronize with the rest of your devices. And also you can go into the LED brightness and choose a brightness which suits. Obviously 0 is off, 100% is full brightness, so just choose a level which suits you and also will give you the best battery life for your particular needs. Also we've got calibration, so you can actually choose preset surfaces here. So if you've got one of these ASUS mats, you can do that, or you can do manual configuration or manual calibration as I've done here. To do that, just click on start and you can calibrate your mouse, so just move it around in a circle, figure 8, and when it's done, it will come up saying calibration successful. If you're trying to calibrate onto a surface which you're not sure of, perhaps a melamine surface or glass, something like that, then it will come up if there's an error saying that it cannot calibrate, in which case obviously you need to change your surface. I'm using this on just a plain melamine desk surface and that's absolutely fine. Again, you can choose your preset surfaces of any of these which are highlighted here. Also, you've got your lift-off distance, which is adjustable between low and high. I leave it set to low, which is absolutely fine for my purposes. Next, you've got the power settings. So at the moment, as I said earlier, still with 100% battery, it just does not want to go down. Also, you've got battery notifications, so you can click on the icon and it will come up here, down in your taskbar, tell you the percentage and how you're connected. As you can see, connected via Bluetooth currently. Also, you've got the lighting alert, depending on which percentage it's on, so you can set it to be off, so no alerts whatsoever, or you can set it to either 50%, 40, 30, 20 or 10. 20 is the default. Also, you've got a nice setting here for sleep mode, so for when the mouse actually goes to sleep, you can set that between 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes or never. Again, to wake up the mouse is very easy, just grab it and move it very slightly and it will wake up automatically, no need to press any buttons. Also got the option for a firmware update, so you can choose to update the device. If you've actually got the dongle plugged in, you can also update it from there also. And speaking of which, if we go back into devices, you'll see the ROG Omni receiver is listed as a separate device. So if we go into that, no device on the secondary channel, paired device at the moment, we've got the mouse, which is the ROG Strix Impact. So if I turn this into 2.4 GHz mode, it will use the receiver. And also you can add devices here, so a mouse or keyboard, depending on which you want to do. So I think that's pretty much it for the software side of things. Pretty awesome, lots of things you can control in there. And again, lots of these things you can actually do by using hotkeys on the mouse without any need to install the ROG software. So there you go, there's a look at the software. Now you know all about the mouse itself, and my opinion is it's absolutely fantastic. At the price I paid for it, $46.97 I think it was on Amazon.co.uk, this is an absolute steal. It really is. Well, that is basically the price of the wired version. You'd expect to pay more for the wireless version. So although it was a mistake technically, it's worked out to be a particularly good one because, like I said, I don't like cordless devices or wireless devices. I think it's a pain. You have to worry about a battery. But with this, there's just no worries at all. And I've got a lot of mice that I can choose to use, various different shapes, sizes, sensors. And so far, at the moment, this is the one that ticks the most boxes. So it's got everything I need. It's extremely reliable, extremely accurate, fantastic feeling mouse buttons. The fact that I can change out the switches if I get a little bit bored and want to try something different, that is awesome. There's just nothing really that I can say about this mouse that I dislike. The only thing which would be for me possibly a very, very slight negative is the fact that this is actually going to be terribly small. The fact that the way the buttons are, the right button for me, because I'm left-handed, I need to use just very slightly more pressure for the right click than I do the left click because of where it's angled. There's a little bit more leverage on the left than there is on the right, which actually gives you a little bit of a distinction between the two. But for me, I would have liked that button to be coming back a little bit further, or perhaps being completely symmetrical rather than this ROG kind of shaping they've got going on here. Other than that, this is basically the perfect mouse for me, and hopefully it will be for you too. So if you've got any comments or questions about this one, leave them in that comment section below. If you want to ask any more questions about this, because I'll be using this on a daily basis, head over to our Discord chat. You can join in there, and if you've got any questions or comments or anything you want me to try on this, then I certainly can do for you if you wish. If you want to check it out for sale, I can't guarantee you're going to get the same price, but I will put affiliated links in the video description for both Amazon and also places like eBay, etc. So if you want to check those out, you're more than welcome to do so. But I think that's going to wrap this video up. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.